I make video work, media work that incorporates video, and it has been called video art in the past. It takes the form of installation, it takes a form of sculpture. I remember watching World War II films on television, so they would show all these anti-Japanese films constantly on TV, you know, with the Japanese villains and everything like that, and so I sort of like those. Actually, Flash Gordon, too, I like, because I really identified with this character called Ming, who was this evil, sort of Asian dictator. It was played by a white person, but he was probably the only person that I could identify with, in a way. I was at Berkeley in the late 60s, and so I was in some of the first classes where they were putting together to study identity and ethnicity. I did graduate studies in Japan in the early 70s, so I was able to learn how to speak Japanese. In fact, when I returned, it was the first moment that I could actually speak to my grandmother, who was the only one alive left, you know, as an adult. I don't think very many Japanese Americans were able to do that. You see, where they were never able to speak to their grandparents in that way. Frame particularly explores Japanese American culture in that it's the only piece that has anything with the relocation camps. And that piece was dealing with this idea of migration and the diaspora. I really am interested in art history too, and I like to look at history through art rather than through technology or through, you know, wars or through economics, because historically the way art has been given credibility or respect, let's say, is through authorship. If you want to be commercial, then you should be commercial, right? But if you're in the art world, then it's a different story again. Even with video work, if you make it for galleries, then you have a limited edition, let's say. I have incorporated with my brother Norman an art background, art historical, art practice background, and he's coming from a historical film practice background, specifically Hollywood narrative film, as well as strategies that are incorporated into commercials, television commercials, and soap operas and things like that. Manipulating an audience and eliciting some kind of emotion from the audience. So I really enjoy that. I haven't moved to shoot in high HD yet, but I am shooting in like Super 16 and transferring to HD. Even in my photography, I still shoot on film and then and scan. So I think it's still that transition point. Yeah. But I love surround sound. Yeah. I find Otis to be much more organized and more corporate and more, you know, like art school, you know. And when I went there, I actually was able to study with European artists during this critical period of defining and art practice in Europe, and also of a politic of the time. And so I think that really was very formative in my work.